All right, what's great, y'all? This your boy JD. I must really love y'all because I recorded this whole thing and something went wrong, so I'm doing it all over again for y'all. But I want to just give you guys a quick tour of Webinargeek. I really love the platform, by the way. Since using it, I haven't had any challenges. There's probably like one thing that I don't like as much, but that's pretty much it. I'll share that with you too in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get busy. All right, so first things first, y'all, pricing. It is a very inexpensive product, as you guys can see. This is probably the one that you're going to go with, anywhere between 125 to 1,000. Currently, right now, I'm doing the 500 viewer plan. So this is the one that I'm using. And honestly, compared to a lot of other platforms, that is very inexpensive, especially for all the things that you are able to do. Now, let's go ahead and actually log in. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the back end. Once again, there's so many different things that you can do in Webinargeek. But first things first, let's say if you are creating a new webinar, just go ahead and click new webinar over on the right-hand side. And you're going to be able to choose between live, automated, and demand. Now, live is pretty straightforward. As you know, you're doing a live webinar. Okay. Automated, which is probably my favorite feature, is where a video of one of your old webinars can play, but it's going to appear to the viewer as if it's happening live. By the way, quick disclaimer, y'all, my wife is cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I had her stop the first time, so I told her just go ahead. So I'm pretty sure you guys can still hear me, but if you hear some noise in the background, that's that sound of those turkey wings being cooked. All right. But in any case, here's why I love automated. I can take one of my old webinars and I can play it, and it's going to play to the viewer as if it is live. Now, they may question, is this live or is this not? But there's so many features in here that you're going to win that battle as to them thinking that it is live. So automated, number one, you can actually take one of your old, if you have like your favorite presentation, you can take that and you can play it. You can also simulate a chat. So basically you can have the chat going at the same time. So if I'm speaking and during my live webinar, I say, hey, Janice, and then on the webinar, right, on the automated webinar that's taking place, they'll hear that as well. They'll hear me say, hey, Janice, and then Janice can respond in the chat. So it's going to be in sync. So they're going to look like, oh, shoot, this is live. Now, also on the automated webinar, you could actually log in as an administrator. So you can be in the chat and you can see, you'll see the who's actually live on the automated webinar. So it could only be one person that's actually live, but to the person that's live, it's going to look like there's so many other people on there, because guess what? You got the webinar playing, you got people in the chat, they're commenting, so they think it's live. Now, if let's say, a question on the live was, hey, how many of you got your first Airbnb? And let's say Janice, who's on it live, she goes, me, I can go and type and say, wow, congratulations, Janice. So even if she thought that it was a replay, now she's going to be able to see like, oh, shoot, this is live. Okay. So I really love the automated feature. It's really good, especially with how we work things. So we do live webinars and we do encore. So I always do my live webinar live, but my encore happens on Sunday for people who missed Thursday. So sometimes if I'm busy, something comes up, I just play the automated one of one of my old webinars. And then you have on demand. On demand is basically, when they come on and they register, they can watch it right then and there. So, you'll be able to pick live or whichever one you want, right? And then you go ahead, you put your title in, you can put how long you want the webinar, how long you expect it to be. Don't worry if you go overboard, it's not going to stop or anything. So just, this is your viewers are going to see how long it is. So at first I had it at 180 minutes, but now I put 120 minutes because I don't want them to think it's too long, but I do want to manage their expectations. So now, before they got on, they know it's going to be 120 minutes, right? Usually you'll just keep that as public. You pick the date and time. And if you want to offer replay, this is cool. So if you want to offer replay, right? That means after the webinar, the replay will automatically be sent to people. So you can put availability, right? And you can put how many days you want this to be available. So I can say, hey, you know what? I want this replay to be available for 3 days, right? And then now I can also put chat and replay. So if they want to chat in the actual replay, they can actually chat. But they will know it's a replay because you sent to them and said that it is a replay. Okay. Then you can create and publish, or create and customize. Now, I'm not going to go through that because it's going to be a lot easier for me to just go to one of my one of my actual webinars that I already have in place. So this one is about to come up in an hour, as you guys can see. Oh, by the way, you can see how many people registered. You can see how many people viewed it. There's a lot of stuff that you can see, which is really good for tracking and seeing, you know, who came on, how many people showed up. There's a lot of things that you can do on the tracking aspect as well. But let's just go ahead. This is one of my recent webinars, right? So if you go in here, here's the cool thing, right? You have two registration. You have a registration. You have two links. One is a registration link and one is a live link that doesn't need any registration. So let's say if you wanted to track how many people was coming onto your webinar, but you don't have it in place, let's say where you are tracking it another way, then you definitely want to have them sign this, right? Because once they register, they're gonna, now you can know it's like, hey, I got 20 people registered, I got 50 people, I got 100 people registered. But the day of, especially, y'all, well, if you have any mini chat set up, then you probably gonna want to just use the link that they don't have to use anything. They can come right into the webinar, because the easier to get to webinar, the better it is. Okay. Now, what I love about Webinargeek is this, y'all. At first, I didn't know this. I was creating a new webinar every single time. You do not have to do that. So if you have a webinar where, and I'm gonna show you some features that you're gonna love in a second, right? If you have a webinar where you set everything up, the time, the thing, you know, videos, like everything, you have it set up. Instead of you doing a new one every week, you just come down here. Once you hit edit webinar, right? So you go hit edit webinar, right? And now I have this as automated, but I can switch this to live. By the way, let's just do that, right? So let's go ahead and switch this to live, right? So I'm gonna save it live, and then I can actually go down here and I can just add a broadcast. When you add a broadcast, it's basically going to say, hey, it's the same exact webinar, we're just doing it on a later date. Now, you don't want to do this too far in advance, because if you do, let's say, a bunch of dates in advance, when they go to register, they're going to see a bunch of options, and you don't want to give people options. You want them to join at the very next one. So what I do is I usually wait till right before my webinar or right after my webinar. I just simply go in, hit add broadcast. It's really simple, y'all. Date, time, boom, save, it's done. So it's not going to take you any time to do that. All right. Let's go back up here. Let's go to some of the other features. So now let's go to emails first. Okay. Another thing I love about Webinargeek is, let's say you don't have an email system set up already, or make, like, you know, I use Active Campaign now, but when I first started, and I was like, man, you know, in my head, I'm like, this is costing me a lot of money. By the way, if Dion is telling you how to do something, just trust it, because you're gonna end up doing it anyway. Right. But I'm just telling you. So let's say at the beginning, you don't have an email system. You can actually set up your emails right here in Webinargeek. So you can have emails for as soon as they register, boom, they get this email right away, like welcome with the general information. Okay. Then I have an email going to them 7 days before, 6 days before, 3 days before, basically 1 day before, 12 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes before, right? You can do all that. I can have email set up for after that automatically sends them the replay. Okay. So you can set up all of your emails in here, which I think is like really dope. Now let's go to interactions. Okay. So interactions, let's say you have your course that you want to sell, you have, you know, different links, or maybe you, whatever it is that you're selling, and it's a link, you can actually save the link before, and it's going to be your call to actions, as you guys can see. So let's say if I'm over here and I'm closing, I'm like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna do a special for my mentorship. It's going to be $9.97. You can divide it into 4 payments. Let's say that was the deal, right? So all I gotta do is I'll just click this call to action, and then basically right under my video, the that button is going to show up where they can go ahead and click to purchase. So while you're still presenting, you don't have to go and copy and paste links. If you don't want to, you can have it actually happen live, right? So you can save as many promos, many links as you want. So depending on how you feel, if you want to do a promo, a special, I got everything in here. Whether I want to share a course, whether I want them to book a call, whether I want to, you know, give them access to the credit software, whether I want them to join the Facebook, any kind of link, I can say, all right, y'all, the link just popped up. Okay. So you have that, you have emails, this. All right, cool. So now automated, let's do this, y'all. Let's do this. Let's go to let's do this. All right, let's do this. Let's edit this webinar. Right. I want to share something. This is what I love about Webinargeek. And then we'll wrap it up. And by the way, if you guys need me to do this live, I have no problem doing that. Right. So let's say this is an encore happening and something came up And that something is I got to go to brunch or something like that, right? Let's say I'm going to brunch and I'm like, man, I can't miss this brunch. All my people's in town. And I go to brunch and I still got my webinar. I don't like to cancel webinars. So what I'll do is I'll just edit it and I'll say, you know what? I can't do this live. So I'm gonna just do it automated. So now I go ahead and I switch it to, what is that? It says you're changing the live webinar to automated. This means the replay of your webinar. Okay, cool. Whatever. All right. So now it's automated, right? So now that it's automated, okay, right? I can have that saved. But here's the cool thing, right? Now that it's automated, I can go ahead and actually select which webinar I want to use. So let's say I have my favorite webinar. Let's say one of these are all the webinars that I did. I can literally go and pick whichever webinar I thought was the best. Like, yo, I really killed this webinar. I had 30 people join. You know, it was good energy. I'm going to use this webinar. So now you can go ahead and pick this webinar, right? And I can actually go ahead and save it. If you have a video that you saved, like you did it on the outside, it wasn't like an actual webinar, but it's a recording of your presentation, you can do that as well. But I would highly suggest that you use one of your old webinars. I'm going to show you why right now. All right. So if you use one of your old webinars, if you go up here where it says simulated chat, this is where it gets crazy, y'all. Simulated chat, you can actually choose, which obviously you would choose the same webinar that you use. So it's in sync. So if I was live on a webinar and I said, hey, Denise, congratulations for securing your spot. Now they can see in the chat, it's like, okay, Denise has secured her spot. So now it's like people that's in that is if you're paying an automated webinar, they're like, oh shoot, he just said Denise just responded, this must be live. Plus I can log in as an administrator and I can just say, hey, congrats, Denise, right? So excuse me, not Denise. So Denise is like, that's the example. But let's say if somebody named Josh is live and Josh say, hey, I want the membership too. I can say, hey, Josh, go ahead and click the link and go and grab it. So now Josh, I'm like, oh shoot, this is live, right? So it's so many cool features in there. Here's another cool thing about the simulated chat. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not telling you to do this, but if you want, you can, right? So another thing that you can do is you can add a message. Now, this is crazy. So let's just say you had a webinar where you like completely bombed. You only got 2 people to take your offer and you told them, hey, I'm only taking 5, right? So now what you can do is you can go into whatever time that you was delivering your where you was closing, and you can just say, you know what, I'm going to enter the message here. And I could create a name and say, my name is going to be Joseph. And I could say, hey, I got the mentorship, JD. And I could create another one, Sarah got mine. Y'all better get y'all's. And now you can create that scarcity. So now the person that's actually live, even if they're the only one there in their head based on what they're seeing, they're like, oh, shoot, 4 spots just went. There's only 1 spot left. Let me go ahead and grab it, right? So you can do that. All this stuff you can do right here in Webinargeek. Let me see if there's anything else I want to share with y'all before I go ahead and wrap this up. So we got that. We got the webinar, simulated chats. I talked about the videos. Y'all, by the way, because I don't know if I said it, so let me say it again. With Webinargeek, right? When I first started doing presentations, I tried to play videos that was already within my presentation. So I use Canva and I would have videos of like testimonies. But when I would play them, I would see people saying in the chat, can't hear. So I realized that I had to actually upload my videos to Webinargeek, right? So I'm trying to see where I can't remember where I used to do that at. Webinar countdown page. I think this is because it's a. Anyway, I would have to upload actual videos to Webinargeek. Okay, let me just stop editing. So basically, I will upload the video. So you can actually upload your videos. It could be a link or it can be a video from your computer. You upload it to Webinargeek, and then you can actually play it within Webinargeek instead of like having it live on your presentation. You want to do that, okay? I don't know if Webinargeek made updates or it's because of this mic that I have. It's just catching the sound really good. But now when I play it, they can actually hear it. So I actually play it inside of the presentation. I don't use the Webinargeek link. Because it's just easy for me to just keep press and play. One other thing I want to share with you guys before I get off, the one thing that I do not like as much when it comes to Webinargeek is this, y'all. When you are doing a presentation, right? So let me see if I can go into this mode where you can see it. Okay. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh, and I hope this doesn't do this. I'm gonna stop because I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. So what I'm gonna do is this, y'all. I'm gonna stop share. I'm gonna just share it again because I don't want to have that same mistake I just had, right? So let's go here to Chrome. Let's go here to share this. I want to show y'all something, right? So let's just say, how do I go to one of my old presentations? Because this one, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. So we're gonna make this easy because I don't want to even take too much time. Let's go ahead and change this to a live. All right, save that. All right, so now it's a live webinar. Okay, so now let's do a dry run. So now I'm going as if I'm about to do a presentation. Okay, so I want to show you guys something to keep in mind, which is why if I was you guys, I would actually buy a monitor. Okay, this monitor that I have right here. So this is my computer is down here, actually, y'all. So I'm looking at you guys. It's on a second screen, which is a monitor. It's just a monitor. It's like a TV. The one that I have is a Sceptra. It's a SCEPTRE, right? It's a curve, so it's really nice, right? And it was like $90, $99. I got it right on Amazon. Came overnight, and I'm gonna tell you why you need that, right? So let's just say I am in the webinar, okay? Let's just say that I am in the webinar, right? And this is the one thing that I don't like about Webinargeek. So as you guys can see, I'm on the webinar and right, whatever. So I'm on the webinar. Now I can see the chat right here, right? So if I go here, chat, I can chat. Great, okay? Here's the problem. When you go and you actually share your screen, now if I share my screen, I don't know if it's gonna show what I'm sharing, which is I don't know if it's gonna show because it's gonna be here. Let me see if I can let's see. I'm gonna try. If you don't see what I'm sharing, that's okay. It's not a big deal, y'all. I'm just kind of giving you an idea because I know last time it didn't show whatever I was showing. All right, cool. So as I'm sharing my screen, I don't know how it's looking to you guys right now in this recording, but basically for me, I can't see the chat anymore. And honestly, that sucks, right? Like to not be able to see the chat anymore is just like, it's horrible because I like to engage. So what you want to do is you want to get a second screen. So what I have is on my actual computer, I will have the chat, right? And then on my monitor, I have my presentation. So I have it nice and big so I can speak, see my slides, but I can also see the chat happening so I can engage during the presentation. So if you are serious about your business, honestly, it's if you're serious about your business, let me just stop sharing just in case. All right, if you are serious about your business, then I would highly suggest that you just buy a second monitor because it's going to cost you $100, but it's going to help you make a lot more money simply because you're going to be able to engage. So, and it's a simple process. You do it. You can actually YouTube how to have a dual screen, and you can just slide, your chat up here and your presentation down here, whatever is comfortable for you. And that'll make your experience with Webinargeek a lot easier. So hopefully you guys found value out of this. Dion, if you want me to come on live and actually teach this anytime, just let me know. Because either way, I'm trying to find a way to make $1 million by tomorrow. So, all right, see y'all later.